Okay, when I see the word Samsung, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Your phone, right? Or maybe your TV? Well, what if I told you that's not even the tip of the iceberg? We're about to pull back the curtain on just how unbelievably huge the Samsung empire really is. So, to really get a handle on their true size, we have to forget about electronics for a minute. And I want to kick things off with a little question you probably won't see coming. All right, you know this building, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. The tallest thing humans have ever built. Now, who do you think built it? I mean, it had to be some massive, world-famous construction firm, right? You'd be on the right track, but the name behind it is going to surprise you.
Yeah, it was Samsung. Seriously. The same company that made your phone also built the world's tallest building. And not just that one, they were also behind the Petronas Towers. So right off the bat, we're seeing there is way, way more to this company than just gadgets.
So how does a company even get to a point where it's building record-breaking skyscrapers? Well, for that, we've got to rewind, way back to the beginning. And trust me, their origin story has absolutely nothing to do with tech. Check this out. In 1938, Samsung wasn't a tech giant. It was a tiny trading company with 40 people selling noodles and groceries. Then, in the 50s, they started dipping their toes into insurance and retail. It took until 1970 for Samsung Electronics to even exist, and their very first product was a basic black and white TV. It was a long, slow climb to become the global force they are now. Okay, so let's talk about the part of Samsung everyone knows, or thinks they know, the electronics. Because even in their most famous division, the level of dominance is just mind-blowing. I mean, think about this. They haven't just been a big TV company. They have been the #1 best-selling television manufacturer in the entire world, every single year since 2006. That's not just leadership. That's total domination. And it's not just the stuff you buy in a box. It's the parts inside, too. You know those super bright, colorful AMOLED screens on a ton of high-end phones? Well, Samsung has a 98% share of that market. Let me say that again. 98%. They don't just lead the market, they pretty much are the market. And here's where the scale really hits you. Just look at this revenue comparison from 2014. Samsung pulled in $305 billion. That's not just more than Apple, it's not just more than Google, it's more than Apple and Google combined. Which, begs the question. How on earth does one company get that big? How can they be a world leader in construction and phone screens and a dozen other things all at once? It seems impossible, right? Well, the answer is kind of simple, and it's because most of us have been thinking about Samsung in completely the wrong way. Here's the big secret. Samsung isn't one company at all. It's actually a massive conglomerate, a chaebol, as they call it in Korea. What that means is it's a giant web of almost 80 different businesses and affiliates. They're all separate companies, but they all work together under that one single Samsung umbrella. And look at how diverse this web is. You've got engineering and construction, sure, but then you have heavy industries, you have financial services, you've got a chemical division, hotels and resorts, and, wait for it, military technology. Okay, this is where things go from big to absolutely wild. Let's talk about the parts of Samsung that I can almost guarantee you've never heard of. First up, there's a company called Samsung Tech Win. This is their military division. Yeah, you heard that right. And we're not talking about like making chips for computers here. They build autonomous sentry robots that patrol the Korean border. They build the K9 Thunder, which is a full-on army tank. And just to round things out, they also make jet engines. So robots, tanks, and jets. Next, you've got Samsung Heavy Industries. This is home to the world's most efficient shipyard. We're talking a space that's over 400 million square feet. And what did they build there? Just some of the biggest ships on Earth. These things are basically floating cities, huge cargo ships that make everything else look tiny. And then, just to give you whiplash, they also run the biggest theme park in South Korea, called Everland. It even has a zoo. So let's just recap for a second. Samsung makes tanks, massive cargo ships, and runs a theme park with roller coasters. Incredible. So you take all of this, the phones and TVs, the skyscrapers, the military tech, the financial services, the theme park. You add it all up, and the scale is almost impossible to wrap your head around. But I've got one last number for you that really, truly puts it all into perspective. Get this. All of Samsung's businesses combined make up 17% of South Korea's entire GDP. 17%. Just think about that for a second. One company name is responsible for almost 1/5 of the entire economic output of a whole country. That's just staggering. And this quote just nails it, right? Who would have thought that the company that makes your smartphone also makes jet engines and tanks? And, oh, by the way, also built the tallest skyscraper in the world? It's a company that touches basically every part of our lives, usually without us even realizing it. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you see that Samsung logo on a phone or a TV, what are you going to think of? Will you just see a tech company? Or will you now see skyscrapers and giant ships, and maybe even the engine driving an entire country's economy? It's pretty wild what's hiding just under the surface.